Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Stellar Life Show. And today we'll be speaking or sharing on ahead of AI. Now, this is very important because much more than ever, we heard about the first industrial revolution, steam engines and all, the second industrial revolution, the third industrial revolution, the fourth, and now we can say we're in the fifth industrial revolution. And, this revolution where we have found ourselves is one that has been characterized by, massive innovation, new technology, new things just happening, coming up every now and then, innovations like never before, new inventions, what used to take time does not take time anymore, in a split seconds, new things come up. And, just as change is one of the inevitable things that we would experience in our lives, I also believe that it is important for us as humans to also be adaptable, be resilient, be agile, be nimble, be flexible, so that we can move ahead with times and seasons. And, very importantly, that we have strategic foresight to know where the future is headed and position ourselves effectively, to harness or take advantage of any leverage that these times and seasons would pose for each and every one of us. So I want to celebrate you for being here. It simply shows that you are deliberate, you are intentional, you care about what is happening, and you want to be in the know. You don't want to be, carried away, because you're either innovate or you die. So this shows that, you want to be up to date, you want to be up to speed, you want to be relevant in the future of work. So I want to welcome you all once again to tonight's class. It promises to be insightful, very sharp. If you have any question at any point in time, please do not hesitate to reach out to me to ask your questions, and I would be happy to respond to all of our questions. Yes, just all of our questions. If you have any, just endeavor to use the chat box and I would respond. So once again, welcome to Ahead of AI with the Stellar Live Show. So like it simply says, Ahead of AI. So what is AI? We'll be guided by this outline, the rise of AI, staying ahead. Where are you? It's a question that I want to ask you. Begin to think about this as we go through this class. Where are you at the moment? Now, in the whole scheme of things, in the grand scheme of things, where are you positioned? Are you aware? Do you know about AI, or is it the first time you're hearing it? Have you used AI? Do you intend to leverage it? What can AI do for you? How can AI disrupt your industry? How can AI disrupt your sector? You want to begin to ask yourself, some sort of like a troubleshoot. You want to begin to know where you fall in the whole scheme of things. So much more than ever in this period, we've seen the rise of AI. We've seen the rise of AI with machine learning. AI is artificial intelligence, simply. That's what it means. It means that machines are becoming or having the ability to think. They have the ability to carry out certain tasks that humans would do on a normal day. And I know that one of the fears that each and every one of us have had at one point or the other is when we hear people say machines will take our job. Very soon you might be out of job and all of that. Well, while this is true, it is true, but it is an incomplete truth. It is true that when AI comes, certain routine tasks that do not require human intervention would be taken over by AI. But, as with every crisis or every problem, depends on the perspective from which you are seeing it. It comes with its own inherent opportunities. So while AI would take away jobs, AI would also create the opportunity for more jobs. And it is individuals like you and I who are well-equipped, skilled, who have developed the capacity for these new skills that will be able to take advantage of these opportunities. So I want to congratulate you once more, for making it to this class this evening. For those who are, online at the moment, and for those who would watch subsequently, I want to congratulate you, because this is a very good decision that you have made. Now, we've seen the need for AI, because if you're a business owner, one of the things that you'd want to do is to find a way that you can save costs and, optimize your resources for better results. So you might be saying, oh, I don't want AI to take away my job. You're being selfish because you're on the other side, the side of the employee. But if you're an employer, you know that you want to make more money, you want to handle more tasks, because as a human, we have a limit to our energy level, our resources level. But machines work endlessly. They just require maintenance and all of that. So humans will get tired. Humans shouldn't even be doing routine jobs, because when you do routine jobs, you're doing one thing over and over again. At some point, you just see that you have plateaued. And you're like, why am I doing this thing over and over again? I want something more challenging. I want something more inspiring. I believe I can add much more value. I believe I can get fulfillment from this job. I don't just want to keep doing the same thing. So that is why humans like us have brought about this invention, AI, because there's a need for us to do much more. There's much more we can do with our minds and with our skills than just doing the same thing over and over again. And so this has led to more innovations and inventions, AI, large language programming, machine learning, and all of that. But the best thing that we can do is, while you're thinking about it, how will AI disrupt my industry? How will AI affect me? You want to ask yourself, how can I stay ahead of the curve? How can I stay ahead of the curve? Now, I mentioned that there are 6 skills that we require for the future of work. It's much more than 6 skills, but I will just be sharing 6 that I think that it's very important and very crucial for every individual here, whether you are an entry-level staff or your C-suite or your mid-management, because we have to give ourselves to consistent learning. And you need to know that knowledge is not static. What used to be true yesterday might no longer be true today. In days past, centuries ago, there were several arguments of the earth is not round, the earth is flat, the earth is this. There were several postulations that came up, but eventually we settled for the earth is round. The same thing, I don't know what truths looks like, long-standing truths that cannot be shaken in your industry, but the truth is, the way technology is going, it will begin to unearth certain truths. It will begin to bring about new truths. It will begin to bring about new realities. And the earlier you adjust as fast as you can, the better for you. You cannot say, oh, yesterday's innovation is what is going to deliver us tomorrow. No, we need new things every day. So there's a need for us to stay ahead. So I mentioned in the flyer, for those of us who saw the flyer, 6 skills that we require, and we'll be going straight right into it. So as I mentioned or explain some of these skills, if you have questions, please send your questions. And if you know that you're not very well equipped in this area, it might be an area where you want to start developing. You might not be able to, develop each and every one of these skills at once, but you can tell yourself, this month I want to improve on this particular skill. Next month, I think I should work on this. Just keep checking yourself, hold yourself accountable, and that way you're positioning yourself for the work of the future. So the first one is non-verbal communication. AI, like we've said, is dependent on machines, is dependent on robots. But the truth is, we live in a human world. We live in a world where communication thrives. We live in a world where each and every one of us are products of relationships, right? So I like what Ephraim says. He said AI has not come to replace people. Instead, people who use AI will replace people who do not. Fantastic. AI has also not come to replace people, right? So it is people who do not change that will be replaced by AI. It is people who do not reinvent themselves that will be replaced with AI. So one of the most important things is, of course, these robots would communicate with us. They'll communicate in their own way. But something about communication is the human touch, the personality. When you're communicating with a robot, it's garbage in, garbage out. It is what has been fed to the robots that it would give out. Currently, these artificial intelligence tools, they do not have emotions. They cannot really feel how you feel, right? Because I know that I have chatted at different times with Bard, which is Google AI, and with ChatGPT, where sometimes they churn out wrong answers. And, you know, sometimes I have the answer, but I just want to check if they have the answer. And then I search with them and ask them a particular question, and then they give me the wrong answer. And, you know, I sort of correct them to say, this is not the way it should be. This is what it is. And, you know, they just tell me, oh, sorry, my knowledge is limited and all of that. You can see that they don't really have emotions. But if I communicate with a human, the human makes a mistake. I can see the emotion of, oh, I feel sorry, or I don't care, or all of that. But beyond verbal communication, one of the skills that will be relevant in this period of artificial intelligence is non-verbal communication. Now, what is non-verbal communication? Non-verbal communication has to do with you speaking even when you're not speaking. And this is what we call body language, because communication is not just about words. Communication also has to do with your courage, your body, your pitch, your facial expression, the distance. And that is why I have, you know, sort of mentioned 5 terms here that are very important. And also you can see the picture where it has non-verbal communication can also be divided into visual and not visual, right? So for visual, we can see the eye contact. You know, there's a way somebody would look at you and you know the person is upset with you. You can see body language where somebody is nonchalant. You're telling somebody, I need you to do this task. And the way the person is feeling or communicating is like, I really don't care. I'm not interested. This is not my thing. And the truth is, as we grow, or as we, you know, go through different territories, what is acceptable in one territory might not be acceptable in another territory. Also, it has to do with colors. For us here in Nigeria, when you see people wear black, what comes to your mind is, oh, there's death. But I think when you go to Asia, when they see white, white signifies death to them. So you cannot tell yourself that, oh, I'm going to be stuck in my ways. What is acceptable in Nigeria is acceptable world over. No, it doesn't work that way. Even symbols can mean different things. For some people, this means good job, congratulations. In other climes, it's an insult. So you don't want to, you know, find yourself on the wrong side. So I remember a friend recommended a book to me, and you know, in your spare time, if you're free, I think it's a book that you can read. The name of the book is Kiss, Bow, and Shake Hands. It talks about how to conduct yourself communication wise. If you're a business person, I think you should read that book. It talks about how you can conduct businesses in different countries. So if you know you're going to travel to a certain country, you want to go to that page and see what is acceptable. For some countries, they would never acknowledge a woman because the patriarchy there is so high. So if you're seated with men, they will welcome all the men with a handshake, but they won't even touch you, the woman. And it's not like they are, you know, racist or they have something against women. It's just their culture, it's just their tradition. So you cannot go there and start accusing them of, you know, maybe not acknowledging you and all of that. Because if you've read that book, you know that, oh, this is their culture. There's no hard feeling. They don't have anything against me. This is just who they are. So, you know, as we begin to get certain level of exposure, these are some of the things that we should look at. But, you know, just to make it also a big technical and not just basic, I would mention kindnesses. So kindnesses is something that has to do with movement, you know. If we did integrated science, you know, kinetic, you also in physics, you'd have heard of kinetic energy. It's something that has to do with movement. And, you know, there's some people that when they're talking to you, for example, I have noticed, you know, from my videos that I like to, you know, give gestures. I like to, you know, make use of my hands. And, you know, you can tell that, oh, this person is an expressive person. When an expressive person, when the person wants to talk to you and the person is, you know, throwing their hands there, you know, saying this, saying that, there are certain attributes that you can read to that person. There would also be another person who will be giving this presentation and the person's hand will just be there and you can sort of say, oh, this person is introverted, this person is calm, this person is chilled. You know, you're able to, you know, infer from a person's posture. Some people, you see them, they just sit down, they'll slouch in a chair. Some will sit up, you know. So different things for different people. For some, while I was also reading and researching on some of these things, I saw that in Asia, they don't like when you sit down and your posture, you don't sit up, you don't sit straight. They believe that if you're ready for business, you should sit up, you should sit straight. It shows that you are ready. you know. So if you go to that place and maybe you're not feeling so well and you don't have to sit well, they might not take you seriously. And that's just how they are. Next is chronemics. This has to do with how people use and perceive time in communication. There are some people who, when they're speaking, they speak very slow. It's more like they're counting their words, like they really take their time. For some people, they're very fast speakers. You know, it looks like they're rushing their language. For some, it looks like they're tripping over their words. Besides, you know, the pace of speech, which we can also see in non-visual communication. Another thing that has to do with chronemics is punctuality. Some people would just always do African time. If you tell them that an event is 6, just know that they'll be there for 7. That is just who they are. When it comes to time, they just don't take it seriously. While some other people, they would always be very punctual. If you tell them 5 o'clock, 4:55, they are already there. Chronemics, like you said, it has to do with time, chronological. The next is proxemics. Now, proxemics simply has to do with proximity. You know, there are some people that when they want to talk to you, they come very close to you. And that also shows communication. It shows that there's a relationship. For example, picture this, there's a mother and a child. You can tell the relationship between a mother and a child when a child sort of does something wrong and then wants to speak to the mother and is standing far away. You can decipher that, oh, this child has done wrong. This child knows that he or she is going to be rebuked. So they are standing far away. But when a child wants to maybe sort of request for something, they will come by their parents' side, you know, lean on their parents, touch their parents. Mommy, I want this. Daddy, I want this. So it just talks about the role that space, you know, plays in communication. And we know that space is very key. As if we did not know the importance of space, during COVID-19, we all had to pay attention to social distancing, where you had to keep a level of space between 1.5 meters to 3 meters between yourself and the next person because of the things that you can exchange just being too close to one another. So proxemics has to do with proximity, distance, space, and how it can influence communication. Because if you come close to me, of course, I'm going to be speaking very calmly, but if you're far away, I'll have to shout, you know, all of those things, they're just dynamics. It might look like it's not a big deal, but it's really a big deal. Sometimes I complain at work when my team lead wants to speak to me and his desk is far away and he shouts or he has to come. And because I'm like, we have an extension. There's an office phone. You can just ring me and say, come, I need to tell you something, or come, I need to show you something. But when you speak from that place, what it shows me, because you're raising your voice, is, is he angry? Is he upset? The work I churned out, did something go wrong with it? You know, you begin to, you know, think a lot of things in your head. And this is how it influences communication. So when he speaks like that to me, as I'm moving towards him, I begin to think, what did I do wrong? Okay, what would be my defense? Should I be on the offense? You know, you might think, oh, these things are trivial things, but they are not. They're very critical and crucial things. If you know you have experience with any of this, you can just put it in the chat box just so that, you know, you sort of understand what we're talking about. Also, haptics is very important. And this is why when you see lovers communicating, you can sort of tell that, oh, these people, they have a relationship. Because for those who are giving to PDAs, which is public display of affection, you can always see that they want to hold each other, they want to touch each other, they want to hug each other. There's a way somebody will hug a person and you know, oh, they're just friends or it's just normal. And there's a way they'll hug another person and you know that, no, there's something here. And this has to do with haptics. It has to do with a sense of touch. And we need to know that touch is the most sophisticated and intimate of the 5 senses. You know how we have our 5 senses, smell, sight, you know, touch. Touch is the most sophisticated one in haptics. So, you know, when somebody tells you sorry, you understand that the person is saying sorry. But if the person is your friend and really wants to tell you how sorry they are, they can come close to you and hold your hands or give you a hug or give you a pat in the back and say, I'm really sorry. And, you know, there's just something, it's different. It's different from just saying sorry because there's something that touch does, right? Some touches can make you angry and make you, that's why when the wrong person touches you, you look differently and you're like, what's up? What's going on? Like, I don't understand, because touch is also communication. Some people can just touch you without saying anything, but you know that they are comforting you. You know that they are consoling you. You know they are feeling what you're feeling. Now that's haptics. And then the last one is paralanguage. Paralanguage can also be called vocalics. Now, this has to do with the tone of your voice, the inflection, the loudness, when somebody is pausing. When you ask a child a question, especially children, I know they're very vibrant, they will always respond to you. And then you ask them a question and say, did you pour that thing away? And they pause. You already know that this child is most likely guilty, or the child does not want to confess that it is another person that did it. So from the pause, you can begin to infer and say, tell me the truth. Then they are very quiet. They're looking very sober, very, you just know that something is wrong here. Now that is communication. That is the child saying something without saying something. So communication doesn't always have to be words. It could be any of this, the way I gesticulate, because even with your arms, you can say something. Just imagine a dumb person or a deaf person. They communicate as well. They use signs, they use symbols, and people understand. So communication doesn't always have to be words. And this is a place where I think that if you're in Nigeria and you're listening to this, you understand when you go out with your mother and you're trying to misbehave, or she has told you don't eat outside, or anybody gives you something, say no. And you're trying to, somebody says, take this, my boy, and your mother gives you that look. She did not say anything, no, but you understand. Like, you've gotten the message already. From your mother's eyes, you can tell when you're in trouble. You can tell when you have done well. You can tell when you are heading for trouble. I don't know if we have any Nigerian children like me that, you understand how your parents communicate with you, but I've seen that a lot with my mom when we go out and she's trying to tell me something without speaking. It's like an in-house thing. Children of same parents know when their mother is speaking but not speaking. So this is, I'm saying that non-verbal communication is something that would be a big deal. The same thing in the place of work. As you're applying this to your personal life, most importantly, we're just coming back to the main thing is, this is referring to the future of work. How would all of these things help you do your job better? How would you bond with your team better? As a team, you can have a team language or something that's, it's just between you and your team members. You understand body languages, or maybe when you wave your hand, or maybe when you do like this, you already know what you're saying. For example, I know one of my bosses in the office, when you're making a presentation and my boss does like this, just know that you're saying rubbish. So the earlier you recalibrate and begin to make sense, the better for you. So your bosses at work, do you understand their body language, or do you just always wait for them to speak? When you look at their eyes, for example, I understand when my boss is angry. They don't need to flip. I can see it in their eyes, and I respect that. I just know that I can't go near this person right now because this person is not even in the mood. I'm not about to, receive transferred aggression for what I'm not aware of. So these are some of the things that you can look out for and develop your non-verbal communication skill. Next is empathy. Now, simply put, empathy is putting yourself in the shoes of another. I know I've seen a joke where it says, put yourself in my shoes, and the person's like, I don't wear your size and all of that. Well, that's just a joke. But in the future of work, we're always going to be working with people. You're always going to be given to collaborations, teamwork. And I think that these are some of the greatest soft skills that, employers are always looking out for. Can you work in a team? Can you work with others? And, I just noticed over time that there are different sides to empathy, that there's such a thing as emotional empathy, there's such a thing as cognitive empathy and behavioral empathy. Now, what is emotional empathy? This is you trying to feel how another person is feeling. So, for example, you have a colleague at work who has maybe had a bad experience or something, and the person is trying to share it with you. You are trying to feel how they feel, sort of trying to play in your mind to say, if this happened to me, how would I be feeling at this time? Because this would help you to be cognitive. How? It will help you to think differently. It will help you to add perspective to their thinking. It will help you to be self-aware, to say, if this was going to happen to me, how would I handle it? And because you've put yourself in that emotional state, you're able to think like that person. So therefore, you're going to act, which means that you're going to behave in a way that would aid that person to feel better or become better. And, when I saw these charts from 𝚕�min𝚜𝚜, I thought that it was such a beautiful chart, because if you can look closely, you would see that for every of the forms of empathy that we have here, it talks about intrapersonal, and intrapersonal has to do with yourself. So for emotional empathy, one of the ways you can start with feeling good emotions about yourself is practicing mindfulness. Now, what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is you knowing or being aware of how you feel from time to time. For some people who are given to mood swings, because sometimes I have mood swings. And when I have mood swings and I try to practice mindfulness, I ask myself, what led to this? Because sometimes you don't even know when you slip into that state. For example, I can be very excited now, and in some minutes, I'm just, very calm. And I ask myself, what just happened? Did somebody say something? Did I see something that dampened my emotions? That is mindfulness. You being self-aware, being aware that you have shifted from one state to another. And how does it play in the interpersonal relationship? Is that you're able to recognize the emotion of the other person. So if I have a colleague who is, also empathetic, the person will notice and say, Stella, what happened? You were just, happy right now. And next minute, you just slip into a state. And that person is recognizing my emotions. The same thing, sometimes we do it and we don't even know that that's what you're doing. You see your friend and you're like, why are you angry? Why are you upset? Did somebody make you sad? And the person's like, no, nothing. But you're like, oh, but your emotion has changed. These are how we can see that we have relationships with people. You're able to recognize when something is wrong, and you're able to, put it in perspective. And when it comes to a group, maybe you're in a group meeting, one person is sad, one person is happy, where you have mixed emotions, you're able to be diplomatic. How do I mean? You know how you convey your messages such that you're not hurting anyone. You are communicating in a way that everyone gets it, whether they're happy, whether they're sad, whether they're overly excited, they are able to receive your communication well. Now, this is emotional empathy. So talking about cognitive empathy, cognitive empathy, when it has to do with yourself, is that you are aware. You are aware that, oh, I'm super joyful right now, or you're aware to say, I am a bit angry. And the reason why I'm angry or upset is because this happened. And you are able to tell yourself, I need to come out of this state. Because if I remain in this state, it would affect the level of productivity that I have, and it would impact on my colleagues. And this is not what I want. I don't want to be transferring aggression because they are not the cause of this. So I need to, bring myself back to a proper state. Now, how does this affect relationship? That's perspective taking. So my colleague can see that, oh, Stella is feeling down a bit. The kind of, maybe your friend just was robbed. It means that when you're having conversations, you cannot just laugh about people not maybe paying attention or being careless. It's not like you should not give correction, but there's a timing. So you're taking into perspective and seeing the way the person is seeing, to say she was trying to come to work in a hurry, she didn't want to be late, and that's why she fell prey to this. This is you bringing perspective, not saying, oh, she just entered the vehicle without looking. That's very insensitive. So cognitive empathy means that you can, see from different perspectives. You're seeing from your colleague's perspective. You are able to handle diverse opinions, because I can bring out one thing, and when you bring different people to look at that one thing, they see different perspectives, different sides to it. So you're able to take different sides, which now leads to intra-group. It means that you know that a group is made up of different persons with different opinions and ideas. So you need to know how to practice inclusivity, because like I said, one person doesn't make a team. A team, once it's called a team, it is more than one person. And everybody has to work together to deliver. Like we're talking about the future of work. You need to work together, take into perspective everybody's idea, put it together to churn out a good result. And this is cognitive empathy. And then lastly, we have the behavioral empathy. Now that you are cognitively, you're self-aware, you are practicing mindfulness to become self-aware, you now need to practice self-care. Okay, why am I acting the way I'm acting? What has impacted me? What can I do to make this different? How can I improve going forward? You want to begin to take into perspective how you can take care of yourself. Okay, do you need to, sometimes, maybe you're nervous, maybe you're going for an interview or you're in a competition or something. Do you have affirmations? Do you have things that you say to yourself? Do you need to speak to somebody, a friend? That is how you care for yourself. And if you don't care for yourself, you really cannot show kindness to others, which is what we see in interpersonal. If you're one who is too hard on yourself, you really not be able to show a lot of kindness. You might be able to show kindness to the extent to which you care for yourself. Because if you can't give what you don't have, if you really care for yourself, you would extend it to others. You will give it to others knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally or unintentionally, some unconscious competence. Like you're not pretending, you're not forcing it. It is just who you are, right? So you're showing kindness. And once you show kindness and extend grace to people, it fosters collaboration because they know that I always want to be on Ephraim's team. I always want to work with Prosper. Oh, Jeffrey is a great guy because they are kind. They understand my perspective. And when my perspective is wrong, they know how to change it. They recognize my emotions per time. So I'm happy to work with them because they add value to me. They make me better. Empathy cannot be overemphasized. It is required. As long as you're going to be working with humans, empathy is key. Even sometimes when you chat with these artificial intelligence tools like Bard and ChatGPT, which I work with most of the time, you can see that sometimes they try to be empathetic. They tell me, oh, sorry. At least sorry is something. I feel, wow, even though they are not humans, I understand that they're telling me sorry. How much more humans, right? So let's be more human. You can't try to be like a machine. The machine, they're already here and they're trying to take over the job that you say you have, right? So why not, take it a notch higher? Do something that they cannot do for now. Like I said, all of these truths and experiences that we're sharing now might not be relevant or possible again next year or in the next 6 months. Somebody can come with an emotional machine, but before that 6 months, why not position yourself to make the most of the opportunity that you have? And then the next would be growth management. Now, as we go up the career ladder, if you're a team lead or you intend to be a team lead, one of the things that you should look forward to developing are these 3 skills. You should be able to be a coach, you should be able to guide your team members, and you should be able to develop leaders. Now, because you can't do this job alone. So you need to strengthen those who you have around you. So for example, coaching. When you hear coaching, liken it to a football match where every team has a coach. And a coach is so because we're putting it in the future of workspace, it means that in this sense, that coach is a professional, right? It's a professional who is helping you to recognize your needs so that you can fulfill the goals of the organization. So a case in point, I'm a team lead. And at the start of the year, we have our strategy and all of that. And we said that, oh, at the end of this year, this is what we want to achieve, right? I now begin to speak to each and every one of my team to say, what are your needs? What I need to identify them so that we can feel them so that in the end, we can achieve that strategy and goal that we have set. Because if I do not identify your needs and help you feel them or help you achieve them, then ultimately we would not achieve our goals as an organization. So if you're a team lead, and the truth is, coaching is broad and is more extensive than this. But this class is to give you a hint that will propel you to tell yourself, okay, I need to learn how to be a coach more because my job requires this. For some, it might not be you giving the coaching. It might be you receiving the coaching. So you tell yourself, I need to get a coach. Who can be my coach in my organization? You want to identify who can be your coach just so that you can improve yourself and grow in this future of work. The next is guiding. Now, simply put, guiding is when you are showing the path. so that one can get to a destination, just like we have Google Map. You want to go somewhere that you do not know, you just input the address, and then the Google Map would guide you. Same thing, when you have a leader or you're a leader, you want to guide your team. The destination is to deliver 500 million naira. Okay, so how do we, using banking, how do we reach out to customers who are able to make these deposits? Okay, let's meet people in this industry. Let's meet people in this sector. Let's do this. Let's do that. You're coming up with plans, initiative that will guide you safely to reaching that goal of raising 500 million naira. Now, a path has been created, and so a leader guides, right? So growth management is more for people who are in a level of management where they are leading. So you want to ask yourself, how well am I going to coach my team? How well am I going to guide my team? How will I develop them? Because there are some of your team members that you've identified that they have certain strengths, and you don't just want to leave them that way. You want to leverage that strength. You have identified that this person is really good with content creation. Okay, but we've put this person in the wrong team. Rather than put this person in this team, I think we should help this person pivot. We should help this person switch. We should help this person transition, just so that each and every one of us can achieve our goals. And it's a win-win. In the end, the person is having career fulfillment because he or she is developing and refining and is able to deploy their skills to the advantage of the organization. So if you have found yourself in management, it's something you can even use in maybe your church, somewhere, anywhere, an NGO you're volunteering for, whatever it is that you're doing, find a way that you can improve your growth management. And these are skills that you can put on your CV. And then people are like, wow, where you're going for interview, you're like, what is growth management? You're able to say, oh, I have coached this number of people. I have guided this number of people. I have developed this number of people. Because you know that as much as we say, one of the key things that you should do as a person is to invest. Don't just invest in things. Invest in people. Invest in yourself as well. And you don't know how it's going to pay, because one transformed life is great. Now, giving an example of investing in others, I'm sure we know, if you're in Nigeria, and if you're also not in Nigeria, you can Google it. There's this musician called Spyro. And every time we always had to go for studio sessions and he didn't really have money, he had this friend that was always saying, we want to go for studio session, okay, take 3K, take 5K, who was always supporting him financially. And now that he has blown, or we say now he has a successful music career, he bought the person a house. Now, is it the 3,000 naira or the 5,000 naira that can build a house? No, but it is the fact that some words that you sow in the lives of people at certain time is what keeps them going. So when they record a huge fate, they have no other choice but to recognize you. It might be a house, it might be a car, whatever it is. Just make sure that you are investing in others. It's one of the best things that you can do, right? So after growth management, next is mind management. Now, I'm sure we've seen this book, The Battlefield of the Mind. Now, everything starts and ends in the mind. Don't let anybody deceive you that, oh, these people, they're just motivational speakers. They're just saying everything is in the mind. Everything is in the mind. Everything is in the mind. Yes, everything is in the mind, because it is your thoughts that would determine the emotions that you have. The emotions, how you feel, is going to determine the actions that you would take. And the actions that you take will determine the results that you would have. So don't let anybody deceive you to say, oh, no, mind management is key. Mind management is key. And imagine if you can help manage the mind of others, right? So it means that you can mismanage the minds of others. It means that you can also manage the minds of others correctly. But which would it be? It's up to you. Now, these are 4 ways that you can manage the minds of people at the place of work. Mental health. Now, mental health is one theme or one issue that has taken, preeminence in this period. What is the mental health? It is your emotional and psychological state of well-being. It just has to do with how well are you. It talks about what is affecting your thinking, what is affecting your feeling, why are you acting the way you are acting, because all of this will determine if you're going to do well at the place of work. So, for example, you know that if you spend a lot of time in traffic before going to work, your productivity level would drop. Not because you want it to drop, but because stress has an impact, that it has a toll that it takes on us. So maybe you just want to catch your breath, maybe you just want to rest. So this simply means that if you're a team lead, as much as you want your deliverables met, you also want to make sure that your teammate is also in the right frame of mind to deliver quality work. So somebody is coming to work maybe after spending 4 or 3 hours in traffic. You don't just want to start, oh yeah, give me that report. Where is it? All of that. No, you want to tell the person, catch your breath. Do you want to take a nap? Do you want to relax? Do you want to settle in? I'll give you 30 minutes. And definitely, the person is reasonable enough to know that they have to give their deliverable. Now, this is you caring for the mental health of your colleague, because once they know that you care about how they feel, they are able to put in their effort. People don't care how much you have and all of that. What is most important to them is how you make them feel. People would always lean towards people who make them feel good. That's why in the place of work, it looks like one person is loved and they don't love the other person. It's not true. It's because the other person has, made themselves an environment, an atmosphere, an ambience for thriving, not for complaining or for bashing. So people would rather stay in a place where the next points that you can see in the deep wine color, psychological safety, people want to stay where they are appreciated, not tolerated. We hear that a lot. Go to places where you are appreciated and celebrated for the work that you do, not where you are tolerated and they make it look like you are not good enough, right? So psychological safety is one term that has also, taking front space in this period. Ever since, COVID became a thing, psychological safety is something that people have been talking about. Psychological safety in a team, we're talking about the future of work. Psychological safety in a team means that you are a member of a team and you are able to air your opinion. When the boss says, we're talking about this, everybody, what do you think? People are speaking. People are not just saying, I don't want to talk, or if I talk now, they will laugh at me if I miss it. Psychological safety is in a team is where everyone can air their opinion. And even when you make a mistake, no one is laughing at you. Instead, you are corrected, right? And this is what you want to have as a leader, where everyone is not afraid to speak up, where everyone is not afraid to, talk about the risks, the mistakes, the potential harm or dangers that can come from taking a step. Because sometimes they can see that this thing would not end well, but because of how you would react, they will not speak. They'll say, let us make the mistake first, then we'll come back to brainstorm again about it. You want to create an atmosphere that is welcoming, right? An atmosphere where there are no foolish answers, right? And, bringing it back again, repeating something in mind management again, which we talked about in empathy, is still mindfulness. This is you being aware of how you feel time and time again. Know how you're always feeling part time. And sometimes we're so hard on ourselves that we don't appreciate ourselves. You just achieved something. Everybody telling you, congratulations, congratulations. Instead of you to feel good, you are beginning to wonder, can I deliver this next time? Why are you looking forward to next time? Of course, you should look forward to next time, but at the moment, bask in the euphoria of winning. You just achieved something. Celebrate that feat. No win is small. Celebrate it today because, of course, tomorrow, that victory becomes past. So celebrate and enjoy every moment. Take away the lessons and the joy from every moment. Don't say, oh, I'm looking forward to the next big thing. Always looking forward to the next big thing. Celebrate what you have now. And all of this will successfully happen if you train yourself to be emotionally intelligent. Now, emotional intelligence is the ability to manage your own emotions and understand the emotions of the people around you, which is like empathy that we've spoken about. Is being self-aware, being people-aware, being self-regulated and people-regulated. Because if you're emotionally intelligent, it would help your relationship with each and everybody around you. That's why sometimes you see somebody and say, you can work with every and anybody. It's not because it was easy. They intentionally determined that they would be able to work with everyone. Nobody's troublesome. You just need to understand what makes them tick. And if you're going to be a leader, this is a skill that you should have. And the truth is, no one is like a master of emotional intelligence. We're all a work in progress, because there are some people that would be more difficult than some people. So you have to keep learning. And I hope that so far this class has been useful. If you know that you've been getting value, I'd like to see it in the chat box. Just say, oh, I'm getting value. This has been insightful so far, because we'll be rounding up very soon. So please let me know what you have been getting. And then next is collective intelligence management. Now, like I mentioned, it's the future of work. You are not working in isolation, you are working in teams. Something that you want to learn is collective intelligence management. Collective, because each and every one of us in a team, we have our strengths, we have our weaknesses, but we are better together. When we collaborate, when we work together, we're able to churn out great results. So don't make one person feel better than one person. Don't say you, just like parents are not supposed to have favorites, right? Parents are not supposed to say, I like this child more than this child, because you know what that does? It ruins the team. You don't want to do that. Everyone should be celebrated and recognized for what they bring to the table, because everybody is contributing. And those who look like they're not contributing, you really want to check, have you been able to foster psychological safety? You want to check that and see how you can re-engineer them to bring out their best, because no one is useless. Everyone comes with a value, right? So as a team lead, managing different people, like the picture here depicts, you want to be able to manage the different intelligences that you have. You know, some people are very good with visuals. Some people are good analytically. Some people are good with organization. So every part is like a system. You can't say, oh, one part is not important, the other, just like a car. You can't say, oh, the engine is more important than the body or the steering or this or that. Everyone has an important part to play. So just make sure that for everyone on your team, find them. And how do you even leverage or harness this intelligence very well? We can see some of the written things in this picture. First, express a team vision. If you're a team leader or a team lead, group lead, whatever, find a way to cast a vision to say, in this team, we're a team bounded by respect, love, and would always deliver promptly on our deliverables. As simple as that. Let everybody know that this team, we have a vision. Of all the teams in this organization, this team wants to be the brightest and the best. This team wants to be primus inter pares, wants to be first among equals. That would drive a culture amongst each and everyone. So whenever you have a task to do, don't just give it to one person. Quickly call for a team meeting, like a brainstorming session. Call everyone. Remind them of the vision so that when they are coming, if they are coming disjointed, you know, you sort of use an icebreaker to make everybody aligned and then begin to brainstorm. How do you think we can do this? Oh, the visually appealing person can say, I think we should use yellow. The analytical person says, I can do research on numbers. I think we should add some numbers. Everybody, musical intelligence, everybody comes with their own intelligence, because we have different kind of intelligence. Maybe that's another class for another day. So that if you do not know the intelligence that you have or the areas of intelligence that you operate, is something that you want to begin to know. Because just as you have different people in the place of work, even in your family, for those who would definitely will become parents very soon, all of these things will help you in, you know, training, in parenting your kids. You know that, oh, this my child is musically inclined. So if I want to guide the child, these are the ways that I can guide. I can musically correct this child, because you don't correct two people the same way. Some people are giving more to words. Some you have to use the rod, but you need to understand what works for each. Same thing in a team. During a brainstorming session, gather the knowledge. Gather the knowledge. And then ego management. You know, some people be like, oh, my idea was the best. As much as one person brings the idea, which is the winning idea, everybody should be appreciated, because having an idea alone is not what works. It is the execution of the idea that would need support of people that makes it better. So you want to be able to manage the ego of the people around you. Even in our lives, in our relationships, we know we always have to manage people's ego every now and then. The same thing in the place of work. The place of work is always about management, resource management. And we know that human capital is a resource that should be managed well. So collective intelligence management, have a team vision, ensure that you brainstorm together, you do knowledge management, you gather knowledge, and you manage each and everyone's ego if you want the best. So you need to learn this. So if you have siblings, I think it's a good place to start. If you have siblings, you want to begin to find out, you want to begin to ask them, what are you good at? You know, begin to identify softly all of those skills that you would want to practice in your own personal life. And then the next is And which is the last, is the realization of ideas. Like I said, each and every one of us, we always have an idea. Oh, I have an idea. Oh, I think we can do this. Oh, I think we can do that. But, ideas are just ideas. But it is the execution that is the mother of all. Because if you say, oh, I have an idea that we should go to this place, if you don't make a move, if you don't stand up, if you don't gather other resources and move, you would never get to that place. It will just stay in the place of an idea. So imagine Steve Jobs just sitting in his room and saying, I have an idea that there's something that should be called an iPod, or there's something that should be called an iPad, or Tim Cook say, oh, there should be something that should be called an iWatch, or whatever device. They just say it in their minds, but they do not work it out. They didn't think about the technology. They didn't think about the back end and all of that. It will just be an idea. You and I won't even know the name. But it's because it went beyond being an idea. And this is a skill. Because you would always have people come to you as a leader to say, oh, I have this idea, I have this idea, I have this idea. Are you able to channel that idea to realization, where your dreams become a reality, where the things that you're saying goes beyond just being said, but become tangible? For example, now I have this pen. Someone thought about it. Oh, I think we should have a green pen. The person didn't just think about it. The person went to the factory and made it happen. So the realization of idea is a skill. And it's only leaders that can do this. So you see people coming up with different innovation, invention. Think about Elon Musk and Starlink. He's saying that he wants to create an internet where everybody can have connectivity all over the world, because there's something in the space that helps you. It went beyond an idea. He made it a reality. Think about Tesla. Think about even OpenAI. Think of ChatGPT. Whatever you can ever think about first started as an idea, but from an idea, it became reality. So learn to begin to execute. Learn to have the skill of the realization of ideas beyond just ideas, make it a reality. So I want to thank us for joining this class. And I want to just remind us what the 6 skills are. Ahead of AI, non-verbal communication is key. Empathy is key. Growth management, key. Mind management, collective intelligence management, realization of ideas. These are 6 important skills that you need for the future of work. And I don't think machines can do all of this, at least not yet. When they can, we would have another class. We will revisit this class and I would let you know. So don't think AI will take away your job. Instead, think about it. How can I work with AI? How can I collaborate with AI? How can I make AI make my burden less? How can I make AI the foundation of or the bedrock of my job? And then I put the icing on the cake. I put that human touch to it. And I can assure you that you would be blessed and better positioned for the future of work and any opportunity that comes up. I want to say thank you very much for joining this class. I hope we've gotten value. So if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer all of our questions. We've had a great time spent so far. See you next week again by 5. Thank you so much.